Well, Paul McCartney joins us now live from his premiere party. Get out of that, Paul.
Hi, Pete. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm a long time no see.
Well, I hate him. I can't stand him. I hate his music. I think it's a home movie. It should never have been made. What do you reckon?
Well, I haven't seen it yet. I'm reserving judgment till later tonight when you've been kind enough to invite me to see it.
Listen, a lot of what you said was wrong. It's taken over 1.4 million. It's in the top 20 of the American films. The reviews have been about 50% good, 50% bad, all of which you showed, I notice. What about Equal Time, Peter? And as an old Liobian, I'm totally ashamed of you. I went to school with this man.
I should explain to you. I'll explain another time what an old Liobian is. But tell me what point the critics missed, the ones that we showed.
I think making a film like this with music and plot, trying to mix the two, is actually a very difficult genre. And people, I think, don't realise how difficult it is to do that. The people who liked it weren't expecting too much, so that the kind of slight plot that it has, my fault because I wrote it, it really doesn't kind of get in the way of the music. I think personally that it's okay, you know, and I think the more you see it, the better it is. But what can I say? That was a terrific reviews you just laid on me.
Well, you say the more you see it, people will only see it once, won't they?
No.
You want them to come back seeing it time after time?
Physically force them back to see it time after time, Peter.
So generally, you didn't expect these rough reviews?
No, generally I did expect this and rougher. But the thing is, I mean, I've never let that put me off in the past. If you remember, Sgt. Pepper had terrible reviews. She Loves You was like one of the worst records of the year, and Van Gogh had his ear cut off and never sold a painting.
Would you like to take this opportunity to say a few words to the critics who we quoted?
Well, not really, Peter. Some of them, my best friends are critics.
How much money do you stand to lose if it fails?
Nothing.
Why is that?
Well, because it's 20th Century Fox's film, and already it's not actually losing money. I say, what happens is with me, as you probably know, being in the media, is that if I do attract some bad reviews, those are the ones that are shown. And you'll notice those are the only ones you showed, and your man there who was doing the criticism was all he mentioned. In actual fact, there is another side to it, and they're people, and they are going to see it, not in huge droves, but as you probably know also, this isn't a massive budget film. The man's talking like $9 million is a huge budget. It's actually a very small budget. So for what it cost to make, it's actually doing quite well.
One of the American critics you saw there described it as a $9 million home movie.
Yeah.
I mean, was it an indulgence for your own fads?
No, the thing is, you see, anything I do, I think looks like an indulgence. You know, people tend to think even if I write a song, it's like, oh, he's indulging himself again. But when you start off on a piece of art, or whatever you want to call it, you start off with enthusiasm, you know. And if, in the end, you can't please everyone, I mean, I'm still happy with the enthusiasm we generated during the film. And I personally actually like it. And I'm proud to have done it. It's a British film. It's made. There's a lot of people out there who can talk a great movie, but they don't often get on the screen. I think, you know, if you were to show some of the better reviews, I think you'd create probably a more equal picture.
But you see, you have the money where other people collect stamps to make a film occasionally for yourself, don't you? If you feel like it.
No, well, that's what you tend to say about me, but I didn't consider it like that. You know, I don't come on like that. You know, the thing about my money is I happen to have got successful writing and singing songs. I mean, I didn't come into it, I don't do it just for the money. I actually do it for the art and the enjoyment. I think in the long run that will be proved. But if you remember back to Magical Mystery Tour, that was even worse reviews than this has had. And if you watch that film now, I mean, I think it's damn good to see John Lennon up there singing I'm the Walrus.
What do you think is the best thing you yourself have ever done?
Met you, I think, Pete.
How can you follow that? How can I follow that? I'll follow it by stopping and winding up the programme. Paul McCartney, nice to see you again.
Thanks, mate. Bye-bye.
And to reviews ranging from the
the Liverpool Institute near the Anglican Cathedral. 3 years after leaving, Paul was internationally famous, overshadowing the school's previously most celebrated old boy, Arthur Askey. But today, the former member of the Quarrymen, as the Beatles were called in 1960, is going back to school, or rather, the school's paying him a nostalgic visit. His band Wings is giving a free concert for all 600 pupils in Liverpool's Royal Court Theatre. Hoping to meet him is his former geography teacher, Blip Parker.
Mr. Parker, what can you remember of Paul when he was at school, when he was in your geography class?
I remember he was a very bright and cheerful lad who did a reasonable amount of work for a boy of his age.
Was he a studious academic type?
One could hardly call him that.
How many times have you seen him since he left the Liverpool Institute?
Just once, and that was very soon after he'd left.
This was before he was famous, was it?
Yes, before he was famous.
And what was that occasion then?
He was repaying a small debt, actually, to my wife.
What was that?
A sixpence that he'd borrowed to go to the cinema.
Do you think that he will feel slightly embarrassed or nervous when he sees you?
I don't think so.
It is you too. I wasn't sure if it was old Blip himself. Yeah, great. And this is a representation of the lads.
Yes, there's quite a few of them.
Still as lousy looking as they were when I was there. We used to sit in class, you know, and he'd just say, right, boys, dictation. And you just have to dictate a whole lesson. Just it was like secretarial. Does he still do that?
Yeah.
The glacial explosion and the lateral moraines.
Paul failed art at A-level, and as if to make amends, the school's art teacher presents him with a gift.
And this is on behalf of the staff and the boys.
God blimey, they freaked out since I went there.
That's painted by one of our sixth forms.
Stan Reed. Go mad, wouldn't it? What's all this?
Well,
Filthy language.
That's not directed at you. It's an illustration, actually.
We're broad-minded, these two. Great. It's great, what is it?
There are about 1,500 Liverpool children, including those from Paul's old school, in the theatre for the free concert. Their response is on the enthusiastic side of idolatry.